My lesson is on the basics of photography. My intention to use this visual literacy learning component is not just to create a slideshow for my intro to yearbook journalism students, but to create a how-to lesson on the basics of how the camera operates and give them some visual samples on what their photos will look like on certain settings. My intention is that this is interactive as well as can be something printed out and used as sort of a cheat sheet when they are first learning how to photograph. So as I go through each of my examples, um, we talk about different vocabulary, including aperture and shutter speed, and I make sure that I give them a very clear image that shows them exactly what happens in a camera and what happens in the size opening of their lens, how it lets more light in, very similar to the pupil of your eye. More vocabulary includes depth of field and what that looks like with how much of an image is in focus. And I give two examples here. One, which is a portrait image of the parrot, and the other is a landscape image that shows that sort of soft, unfocused background. So again, really important for my students to have samples so they know exactly what they are photographing and having an intent in their photograph as they are going into doing their digital storytelling. Another vocabulary term is their ISO, measuring that sensitivity. So you can see what a clean image looks like and a noisy image looks like. Again, giving them a model for what to look for in their own photography. And then when they come back and practice on their own, they have something that they can compare to and get immediate feedback from. Additionally, we talk about white balance. I've included a video here about how to use white balance and what the purpose of it is. So this is a nice extra component in their visuals. Rule of thirds, again, giving them an example and showing them the specific breakdown of the graph and what they're trying to do in order to accomplish their set image. Looking at their ISO and their sensor speed, giving them specific examples about when to shoot, where to shoot, and specific lighting situations, in addition to what it looks like on the Canon cameras that we use in yearbook. And then we also look at what exposure is. Again, how much light comes into the image or how dark the image appears based on what's being captured on the camera. And here I also have hyperlinked another video that talks about the difference of long exposure photography, which is a little bit more advanced for what they're doing and typically used in the case of special effects. I also make sure I'm always showing them the image of their own camera, where to find these buttons, and giving them step-by-step instructions on how to do that. So again, this is really working as a how-to guide for them, but also serving as a model for examples for them so that they can constantly compare their own photos to. And if they say, hey, why is my photo turning out blurry when I'm trying to shoot an action shot? Well, then they can go to their how-to guide and take a look at exactly what they need to do to increase or decrease their shutter speed if they're trying to get motion or if they're trying to get a still image. And overall, that's how I would use my photography basics for my visual literacy lesson.